The following podcast is a W2M Network original production. Visit W2Mnet.com for all of our other great podcasts, plus news, reviews, articles, and opinions from the worlds of wrestling, video games, football, and entertainment.
And we are live to the W2M Network for the Wrestling to the Max Smackdown live review. Hey, I got the first sentence off without stuttering tonight. I'm already doing better than last week. Good evening, everybody. Afternoon, whenever you're listening to the show. My name is Harry Broadhurst. I am your host. Joining me, as per usual, here for the Smackdown live review, the co-hostess with the mostest, Miss Liz Pugliese.
Hello.
And the Lex Luthor to my Superman. I can't be your Superman, can't be your Superman. Brandon Biskobing.
Continuing with the comic book references.
For this one, don't worry, I have something special planned for 205 Live, and I want to give a shout-out to Miss Pugliese for the inspiration.
It's a good one.
Oh, lovely.
I just have to make sure I pronounce it correctly when I do so, because I have to remember that the villain of said movie was of a foreign descent. Therefore, I have to pronounce the last name correctly. Don't worry, all this will make sense once you listen to the Wrestling to the Max 205 Live and Next to Match Challenge review coming up shortly here after the SmackDown review. It should be available by the time you listen to this. So, a little bit of a format change for tonight, although not too digressive from what we usually do here on the show. We will be covering SmackDown, we just won't be covering a whole lot of it, because frankly, there's not a whole lot to cover tonight. This was a go-home show in every sense of the word, as there were 4 matches on tonight's show. Most of them just honestly paint-by-numbers tag matches in order to get everybody on the show and work out some kinks going into the main card, in addition to a couple of backstage segments that we will touch on and one overarching angle that we're going to start with as our opening promo, scheduled for 15 minutes.
Really? It was only 15 minutes?
Thereabouts. I think it was actually about 12 minutes. It's never not going to be funny to me anyway, so it doesn't matter. Is Daniel Bryan here to discuss the current goings-on with everything in regards to Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. That is until he invites out his commissioner, because Bryan's the general manager, as you see, Shane McMahon himself. Bryan and Shane proceed to bury the hatchet over the misunderstandings that they've had over the course of the last couple of months. And Bryan has said that the one thing that he's learned in the WWE is that when tag team partners have differences, there are certain ways that they settle their differences.
Oh, God.
The crowd is immediately on to what Bryan is saying. Shane seems reluctant, but eventually, bro's got a hug. All I'm saying, Liz, is bros before nose. That's all I'm saying. And apparently and allegedly, Kevin and Sami are going to have to worry about a unified front of Daniel Bryan and Shane McMahon come WrestleMania. Brandon, your thoughts on the opening segment?
I mean, it worked fine for what it was. Nothing too spectacular here. Honestly, they do it later on, but, I was surprised that KO and Sami didn't, jump them, when they were hugging it out or something, I guess that would be a little too cliche. But, can I just say I really hope, especially considering he did something on, I think it was on YouTube. He did something after Bryan announced his return. Can we please get a Dr. Shelby return at some point?
That only works if Daniel needs somebody to console him after what's going to happen on Sunday. We'll talk more about that later with predictions. Liz, your thoughts on our opening segment?
It was, it was all right. It wasn't anything really unexpected. You knew the two of them would most likely bury the hatchet, or at least, say that they needed to work as a team for the betterment of the company, what's best for business. It was all right. I mean, it was longer than it needed to be, but that's nothing new.
To continue the theme of me singing on tonight's episode of SmackDown, why can't we be friends? Why can't we be... Our opening contest, scheduled for one fall, is women's division action, non-title variety, as Charlotte faces Natalya in the match we were supposed to get last week until Charlotte's dental work decided to give her llamas. Speaking as somebody who's had dental issues, sucks to be her. Liz, the match is basically a carbon copy of the one we got 2 weeks ago, down to the attempted interference of Carmella. This time, however, Charlotte kicks out of the attempted roll-up by Natalya, puts on the figure eight, and Natty taps like Mr. Bojangles in about 8 minutes. Shown. 13 minutes of television time. Your thoughts?
It was just another match between the two of them. They didn't, like you said, it was basically a carbon copy of what we've seen. Match-wise, it's stuff that we've seen over and over again. For me, the SmackDown's women's division is definitely getting a little stale, and I'm looking forward to whatever shakeup comes after Mania. It was an okay match. I mean, it was pretty much what we've seen before. Charlotte wins going into Mania, make the champ look strong, as they should, I think. And that was it. Nothing to write home about.
Brandon, is that or is that not comparable to making Roman look strong?
Oh my God, no. Just no. Yeah, I mean this match, like Liz says, it was pretty much just a carbon copy of what we got before. Just basic technical match with a Carmella cash-in tease, and then, unlike last time where Carmella got the roll-up win through the distraction,
Natalya.
Natalya got the distraction roll-up win. This time, Charlotte is able to counter said roll-up distraction pin attempt and put in the figure eight and win. There's probably a reason for that. But I think you guys all know the reasoning behind it. This match was just kind of there. Let me just say real quick, I just thought of this joke right now. We need a new mixed tag team. Screw Charlotte and Bobby. We need Charlotte and Cesaro teaming up with Kane going back to being Dr. Isaac Yankem as their manager.
Get off my show, Brandon.
I was just going to say, if we weren't on a podcast, I tell you to never speak to me again.
Okay. Post-match, Asuka makes her return to SmackDown and confronts Charlotte, saying that Charlotte will bow down to the Empress because nobody is ready. Charlotte steals the microphone and says not only is she ready, but asks Asuka if she's ready in acting of the lesbian porn variety.
Yeah, if Asuka does win, which we're assuming she does, they need to give her a manager, or they need to give her some more, classes.
I don't think it was Asuka that was the problem tonight. It was robotic Charlotte. Are you ready?
They were both pretty bad tonight.
Awful.
In my opinion. That whole little confrontation didn't do anything to further the hype for the match.
Brandon, heavy breathing sells tickets, no?
Yeah, I mean, like you guys said, I honestly think Asuka is getting better. I mean, you could certainly do some more things with her, maybe give her a manager, but, especially with the rumors abound with what's going to happen with Paul, who are they really going to give her? There really aren't any managers left in the business anymore, so, I mean, she's getting better, and I think she worked well with what she had on this one. It wasn't great, but, they got their point across.
I'm going to touch on both of these at the same time because there's no reason to talk about one without addressing the other. AJ Styles and Shinsuke Nakamura both have sit-down interviews. They're more monologues than interviews. Let's try to get that correct in the future, people, rather than calling them interviews. These were not. There was nobody there asking him questions. He was speaking to a camera. Anyway, regardless, AJ talks about the fact that he thinks that Shinsuke is taking him too lightly and that they are a long way away from where they originally met, specifically referencing the Tokyo Dome by name. It's a dream match, but the reality will be that AJ Styles beats Shinsuke Nakamura. Nakamura responds a little bit later on in the show, saying that he's been playing games with Styles and doing so because he's taking the match very seriously. He came to the United States for one reason, to have a match at WrestleMania. Styles is overly emotional and is going to make a mistake. And when he does, Shinsuke will win the championship with what, Brandon?
Kinshasa!
Liz, can you answer my question correctly?
He's going to kick him in the face.
Me.
Okay,
Two-Face.
sorry. I'm so used to us doing the whole Kinshasa thing.
I thought that was the answer too.
Also, that's my gag, you schmuck. Anywho, we have an extended recap of the Shane McMahon, Daniel Bryan, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn. Next, Bobby Roode comes out to ringside to do commentary, which means he's probably getting involved in some way, shape, form, or fashion of the next contest, which is scheduled for one fall.
One fall!
As Sunil Singh first, and I use this word loosely, sings Jinder Mahal down to ringside. It was awful, and quite frankly, it was meant to be, so bravo to Singh for intentionally looking like a clown. I mean, as much of a clown as when Randy Orton's like backflipping him through announce tables anyway. Aiden English arrives and lets everybody know how it's done, reminding us of what fact, Liz? What's today?
It's Rusev Day.
It's Rusev Day. I'm getting better at that. The singles match that is scheduled for one fall is Rusev versus Jinder Mahal in a battle of contenders for the United States title. And Rusev wins! Rusev wins! Yeah, it means he's probably not going over on Sunday. Son of a bitch. Rusev pins Mahal at about 9.5 minutes with the Machka kick. Post-match, Randy Orton comes out of nowhere, yuck, 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 to hit an RKO on Rusev. Aiden English attempts to intervene on Rusev's behalf. Bobby Roode mysteriously, miraculously, somehow finds his way away from the commentary table and shoves Aiden into an RKO. Roode's like, yeah, you ain't getting me, homie. I got a tag match later, playa. Orton poses as Roode hands him the U.S. title to chants of what, Liz? What day is it?
Rusev Day. Rusev Day.
And we move forward. A backstage segment with the New Day is basically WWE Network hype because we haven't had enough of that this past week. The Usos arrive and call the New Day out on their shenanigans and state that come Sunday, both the New Day and the Bludgeon Brothers will be welcomed to the Uso Penitentiary, where you get 3 squares and a cot, so it's actually not bad if you're homeless. Anywho, the Bludgeon Brothers arrive. The Bludgeon Brothers arrive and proceed to break the camera that was filming this segment, therefore rendering that camera obsolete.
Obsolete.
Any thoughts on this segment?
Like you say, it was pretty much just a hype video for both the network and for the tag team triple threat. Not really much to talk about, I did like the new Voodoo shirts that they were wearing.
I was a little surprised that we didn't get anything announced as far as a stipulation, Liz. Agree or disagree?
Agree, because everybody's been talking about it. So a lot of people are looking, for a TLC, which would be, pretty amazing.
Mania needs a ladder match. It doesn't have one yet.
I have a feeling that this is going to be one of those, because WWE is very well known for this. It's going to be one of those last minute, Saturday afternoon we get an announcement that says that it's a TLC match.
Yeah, or the day of, breaking news.
Yeah, exactly.
That, or they just start the match and then the Hardy Boys music hit and they come down and be a part of the match too.
Oh, God. Again? For 2 years in a row?
Again, yeah.
That was the joke. Thanks for stepping on it. Appreciate it. Moving on.
Although the Dudleys will be there too, so maybe they'll come out of retirement.
Make it a fatal five-way.
Bubba's got concussion issues. He won't get cleared anymore, so that's highly unlikely.
That is true.
Well, they cleared Daniel, but whatever.
But this was much more recent.
Yeah, Bubba just recently had a couple of concussion issues in ROH.
I know. I was joking.
Our following contest scheduled for one fall.
One fall.
And one massive nap if you're watching at home.
Isn't that what this whole show was?
I mean, more or less, but let's go ahead and get through this here. The team of Dolph Ziggler, Baron Corbin, because those two teaming up makes sense, Mojo Rawley, and Primo, who I learned still has a job today, takes on the team of Zack Ryder, Tyler Breeze, Fandango, and the perfect pre-show, Ty Dillinger. Don't hate me because it's true. Anyway, the match itself sees Corbin yet again pick up another victory on the road to WrestleMania, pinning Fandango, sorry Liz, with the end of days. This is pretty much proof positive that Baron Corbin is not winning the Andre, right Liz?
Pretty much. I think it's going to be Ziggler.
Predictions are later.
That's all I have to say. I didn't even, you know what? I saw the match start. I blinked. I went to do something else. Corbin won. That's all I know about the match. It was probably boring.
Brandon, you can confirm that the match was boring.
Yes.
What were your thoughts?
I
other
mean,
than boring?
It was one of those typical, throw a bunch of the guys from the Andre into a match just as like a quick preview for the Andre. It wasn't really much. Honestly, I'm surprised they didn't do like an 8-man battle royal with these guys.
That's what I first thought it was. And I was like, ooh, that's pretty, all right. Then it was a stupid match, whatever.
I think the Battle Royal would have worked better to hype the Andre than this bullshit did.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, totally.
And not only that, even when they do matches like this where, where it's just a regular match for a Battle Royal, like a Royal Rumble or Andre Battle Royal, normally at the end, even after the win, like, you have all these shenanigans with people throwing people over the top rope, and we didn't even get that in this match.
Yes, we most certainly did.
Oh, well,
the better part of like the last 2 minutes of the match was people throwing each other over the top rope.
Oh, okay. I meant like after the match, but I guess we got it during the match. Like I said, I wasn't really paying attention all that much.
I reiterate that the biggest thing I learned during this match is that Primo still has a job.
Totally.
Good for him.
Apparently Primo's going to be in the Battle Royal.
I bet he's happy to be employed, let alone working.
That's true.
Anyway, a backstage segment with Chad Gable and Shelton Benjamin cutting a promo about the upcoming main event later on in the evening, which I have not mentioned yet, but is Gable and Benjamin taking on Styles and Shinsuke, because that wasn't obviously telegraphed last week. The following invasion scheduled for New World... Oh, wait. Wrong year. Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn interrupt the proceedings by standing atop the announced position, thus making Byron Saxton unintelligible and therefore being the best moments of Byron Saxton's career. Moving on. The promo itself is rather personally cutting there by Sami, as I think Sami cuts one of the better promos of his WWE career, taking shots at not only Daniel Bryan's wife, but also his daughter, stating that he apologizes to Brie for the shape that he's going to send Bryan back to her in, and to Birdie for what he's going to do to her father. Kevin Owens starts to tirade. Microphones get cut. Kevin There's my first one tonight. I'm happy I made it this far into the show. Daniel and Shane come out to the ramp. Shane says that they had the microphones cut. Daniel says that if anybody in attendance has their cell phones out, get them ready, turn on the cameras and make sure you get copies of this, because this is the last time you will see Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens in a SmackDown arena. Shane then closes the segment by stating that since Sami and Kevin like to sing, why don't we sing a little song here, because Vince McMahon loves the na-na-na-na-na song. And if you've ever listened to Something to Wrestle with Bruce Pritchard, you'll know that for a fact. Our main event, scheduled for one fall.
One fall.
Oh, wait, did you guys want to give any comments on the preceding segment?
I mean, it was a lot more interesting than most of the show previously, and, it kind of it figures that they would have Kevin and Sami come in and do some sort of, talking point or invasion or whatnot. And I was fine with it. Like you said, I did like the very, personal attacks that Sami was putting on Bryan, which makes this even more heated and personal than it already was. So hopefully we get a very heated and personal match on Sunday. The cutting off of the mics was a kind of throwback moment for a lot of fans, which was kind of cool to see. And beyond that, it was a decent segment. I was fine with it.
Liz?
Yeah, no, it was pretty good. Sami definitely livened things up there. I really enjoyed his promo, and it was just not more of the same, but it just furthered it along, and we'll see where they actually go with it, which I'm curious about.
Now the main event scheduled for one fall.
One fall.
Take two. Is AJ Styles and Shinsuke Nakamura taking on the team of Chad Gable and Shelton Benjamin. Brandon, you called it.
Did I now?
Verbatim the finish. Well, the post-match, anyway.
Yes.
We talked about on last week's episode of the 205 Live and SmackDown reviews that at the end of the SmackDown review, we discussed that Shinsuke had teed up Kinshasa on AJ, but did not hit it. This time, after the team of AJ and Shinsuke is victorious, when AJ pins Chad Gable with the phenomenal forearm, points for me in Fantasy Wrestling League, booyah.
7 to be precise.
Yes. Shinsuke gets jumped by Shelton Benjamin. Shinsuke makes his own save, and then AJ Styles springboards in looking for the phenomenal forearm on Shinsuke, but stops himself short, almost blowing out a knee in the process. Careful with that, AJ. And then returns the head pat from last week. Liz, first of all, your thoughts on the match, and then your thoughts on the post-match.
The match was okay. I think actually a different time, some more time. I think the four of them could have given us a really enjoyable tag match. Had some nice moments. It had some, good spots. I liked Shelton going after, Benjamin. Shelton going after Shinsuke. And I laughed at the post-match when AJ, returned the favor, and when he patted him on the head. I actually didn't catch Shinsuke patting him on the head last week, or I had forgotten, maybe. I just thought it was hysterical.
Brandon?
Yeah, I mean, I liked it, like Liz said, and I think everyone can agree that, these guys can certainly put on better matches. This wasn't a 5-star match or anything because, it was just a tag match before Mania. But, it was a good, solid match. And in terms of the after post-match shenanigans, I was fine with it. I liked how AJ kind of returned the favor, and it's like, hey, I can play head games too. I can play these mind games too. So it was just a fun match and fun aftermath overall, and a good way to kind of end the show and kind of send the fans home and to send everyone looking forward to this match in a way where, it's still a respectful match. It's still just two guys going after the title, But, there's kind of that, little edge and mind games going on between the two.
So what you're saying is there were head games. Sorry. Last one for this episode, I promise. I can't make that promise. We still have predictions to get through. That brings us to a close of the Go Home Smackdown going to WrestleMania here. Let's go ahead and throw a final score on this one, and then we'll do our one-word review. Hey, Brandon, where are we at for time right about now? Estimate.
25 and a half minutes.
Which gives us just the perfect amount of time to do our WrestleMania predictions. Booyah! Scale of 1 to 10, Liz, where do you fall?
5. Even for a go-home show to a pay-per-view Mania, it was boring and bloated with packages. I mean, they were showing packages during matches. I mean, that just was over the top even for them.
Brandon?
Wow, you're being generous. I'll give this a 2.5.
Jesus. You guys are grumposaurus tonight. I actually had this around a 6. I'm more willing to forgive the excessive video packages and hype packages this week because you don't want anybody getting hurt right before Mania.
I get that.
Yeah, I get that too, but you could give us more with backstage segments, interviews, something like that. I mean, the people in the stadium, in the arena, it was dull as dirt.
Hey, but look at the bright side. They were more hyped up for 205 Live because of it. I'll take that as a win because, frankly, I'm more interested in 205 Live right now than I am in SmackDown for this particular episode.
Mm-hmm.
One-word review, Brandon. Where do you fall?
Boring. Like I mentioned on the chat, most of the time because of the fact that SmackDown is only 2 hours as compared to a Raw 3 hours, SmackDown, if it's a good SmackDown or even a decent SmackDown, it feels like it goes by like that. But tonight, I looked at the clock and it was only 9:15. I was like, what the hell? How is it only 9:15? It feels like this has been dragging forever.
Liz, one word.
Dull.
Despite the fact that I gave the episode a 6 as my overall score, the one-word review that I have here would be lackadaisical. And that is in regards to the creative aspect of it, not necessarily the talent. The talent, I can kind of understand half-assing it because, as I said, WrestleMania is Sunday. You don't want anybody getting hurt right before WrestleMania. However, we had literally the same damn finish to Charlotte and Natalya, except for Charlotte actually countering out of the roll-up. We had hype packages in and out the wazoo, and we had them basically telling the same story in the main event that they did last week, just from the other perspective. I get the whole game of one-upsmanship between Styles and Shinsuke, but that finish for tonight's episode of SmackDown was telegraphed a football field away.
Yeah, if I had just casually sat down to watch this, I didn't watch every week, whatever. It would not do anything for me to be like, oh my gosh, I have got to see Mania on Sunday.
Yeah, that's what I don't get. This whole thing, it was just you're trying to hype up Mania, and this did absolutely nothing for you.
I'm amazed that we managed to get through tonight's episode in about 25 minutes. Good for us. That gives us plenty of time to do what has become a tradition for me on my podcasts. When it's this time of the year, you'll find them every year this time of the year on the Raw Reaction. We devote the entire episode to predictions. We still covered Raw bits and pieces, much the same way we did tonight here for SmackDown. We open with the final reaction for Raw. Well, tonight for SmackDown, we gave it more of a one-off and then did our traditional reviews. Now it's time for predictions. I've already made my predictions known. I will make them known again here. If you want my co-host for Raw's predictions, make sure you check out this week's episode of the Raw Reaction, available over on Blog Talk Radio / Chairshot Radio Network. All right, let's go ahead and get into this, shall we?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
With all the enthusiasm we can muster, everybody, it's the not.
Woohoo, let's go.
Woo.
It's the not Fabulous Moolah Women's Battle Royal. Liz, as our resident female, I think I'm inclined to start with you for this match.
Oh, God, who do I pick to win this match? I think too many people think it's going to be Carmella. She's going to have a failed cash in. That'll give her something else and blah, blah, blah. But I am thinking I want Becky to win it. But I sadly think it's going to be Sasha.
Brandon?
This is one of those where I'm honestly not sure because, like I mentioned last week, it seems like Sasha and Bayley are the only really big storyline going into this. But I feel like they're gonna eliminate each other or have some sort of shenanigans between the two. I'm honestly gonna go with them kind of going the route of, well, kind of the original, but more of how they handled it last year. And I'm going to go with Ruby Riott winning this.
My official pick is the one that Liz wanted to pick but isn't. I'm picking Becky Lynch. I think that Bayley and Sasha are going to end up canceling each other out in this match, and we're going to get a blow-off singles match between the two of them on Raw on Monday night.
Really? You think they're going to have it on Raw and not save it for a pay-per-view?
Well, because one of them's getting sent to Smackdown in the Superstar Shakeup.
That's true. Yeah, you're probably right.
So my official prediction is going to be Becky Lynch gets the Women's Battle Royal. Let's go ahead and move over to the men's side. It is the Armbar, the Andre Musamov Memorial Battle Royal. Armbar. Liz?
Ziggler. I think if they really plan on doing anything with him at all, I mean, there's so many people, of course, that deserve to win. I'd love to see somebody obscure win it, somebody who's been there like forever and never really rocked the boat and just freaking deserves it for like putting up with all this crap, like Heath, you know?
Like Primo?
Yeah, Primo, his cousin, brother, nephew, whatever he is. But I'm gonna go with Ziggler.
Brandon?
Unless they are in the match, in which case then it may be a little different, but I have a feeling that it will be Matt Hardy winning this all with a return of Brother Nero and Brother Wyatt.
I'm going to... Shoot, who did I take in this match recently? I don't even remember who I took last night. I just did the prediction last night. That's sad. That tells you how little of a crap I give about this contest.
Well, you were wrong in your thought and assumption that the Women's Battle Royal would not get put on the pre-show.
Yeah, well, that's because they got two women's title matches on... That's because they got two women's title matches on the main card itself.
True.
You know what? I'm going to go with Big Show. Why not? He just signed a new contract. He's going to be there. Honestly, you know what wouldn't surprise me? Since he's going into the Hall of Fame the 2 days prior, it wouldn't surprise me if they put Mark Henry in there and have him win it as a going-away present.
That I could see that.
I wouldn't mind that.
All right. Let's move on and go to the main card now because there is one more match on the pre-show. We will discuss it when we do our 205 Live review because apparently the Cruiserweights can't get off the goddamn pre-show.
Maybe tonight's reaction will change that, but we'll talk about that later.
Moving on. Moving to the main card as well. Let's start with the non-title matches because there's one for each side here. On the Raw side of things in non-title action, it is a mixed tag team match as Triple H and Stephanie McMahon take on Rowdy Ronda Rousey or Rowdy Rouza Ronda or whatever the hell Kurt Angle said on Raw. Apparently somebody gave Angle a mouthful of marshmallows before he went out to cut his promo.
When doesn't he have a mouthful of marbles?
And I say this as somebody who absolutely adores Kurt Angle.
Oh, same here.
Like, I have probably a very somewhat unhealthy man crush on Kurt Angle. But
good to know.
He's turning into mushmouth out there on the microphone at times there, and it's not doing him
He
any
can't
favors.
say WWE properly ever.
This is a guy who had a reputation for being one of the best mic workers in wrestling's history during his original run with the company. Let this be a lesson, kids. Drugs are bad.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Brandon. Much appreciated. Anywho, mixed tag team action opens up the main card. Liz, where do you fall?
Oh, wait, I'm supposed to care about that. Hold on. I mean, it's Ronda's debut, and they have to make it look like she knows what she's doing. So her and Kurt, most likely. Yeah, sure, her and Kurt.
Brandon?
Yeah, I mean, is this really even a question? It's going to be her and Kurt going over here because there's no way that they're going to have her lose her first match in WWE.
The only bold part of my prediction here is that I don't think Rousey gets the decision here. I think Angle taps Triple H. That is the only bold part of my prediction for this matchup. I think Angle and Rousey win, but Angle gets the submission victory on Triple H. And then possibly during the course of the match, in order to take her out, Rousey does dehabilitate Steph and gets her off Raw for an extended period of time. To which I say, and I promise no more singing, but I lied. Glory, glory, hallelujah. All right, moving on.
She'll be my favorite. I won't complain about her ever again.
Yes, if she can take Stephanie off of TV for an extended period of time, I think even the most ardent detractors of Rousey will love her.
I like the fact that you just worked the phrase "ardent detractor" into your argument.
Right,
well
really
played, sir. The SmackDown side of McMahonisms, McMahonmania running wild once again for the 34th year in a row. Well, 33rd year in a row, 34th overall. Anyway. Shane McMahon teams with Daniel Bryan to take on Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. And if they haven't made it goddamn obvious who's winning this match, Liz?
I'm hoping Kevin and Sami win it because Daniel turns on Shane.
Brandon?
Yeah, I mean, we talked about this before when they first made the match, prior to them making the or when we were assuming that they were going to make the match, before they officially made the stipulation. But as soon as they made that stipulation of if Kevin and Sami win, they're back, and if they lose, they're gone. Yeah, Kevin and Sami are winning this match. It's stupid because you would think that they'd want to have Daniel Bryan win his first match back, but nope. Kevin and Sami are winning this match. Shane's gonna eat the pin, that's for sure.
See, I think it works out the other way to what Liz said. I think Kevin and Sami win, but Shane turns on Bryan.
Yeah, I could see that. I could definitely see that because I don't think WWE, I mean, granted, this is WWE we're talking about, so we've been proven wrong in the past, but I don't think they're stupid enough to try to attempt to turn Bryan heel this quickly after he came back. That's just asking for trouble.
That's asking for every single member of the audience to rebel going forward for an extended period of time.
Exactly.
Therefore, I think that Sami and Kevin do pick up the win, but it comes at Daniel's expense of eating the pinfall and gives Daniel a mountain to climb in his continued return to the main show roster. Assuming Kevin and Sami actually stay on SmackDown after the Superstar shakeup, which is entirely conceivable that they won't. Moving forward to the tag team title matches here. Over on Raw, The Bar, Sheamus and Cesaro, be still Liz's heart, takes on
You have no idea?
Oh, I have a very strong idea. Some might even call it stalkerish, but that's neither here nor there.
You know what? Wait. I don't mean to hold up the podcast, but that's such bull and you know it.
I have a man crush on Kurt. You have a man crush on Sheamus and Cesaro. It's okay.
Okay,
These
but
are
I'm not a
acceptable.
Yeah,
man.
that's more just like a regular crush.
Crush.
Okay, she's got a schoolgirl crush on
Yeah,
on
that
Sheamus
works
and
better.
Cesaro.
That makes
Oh
more
yeah,
sense.
that is totally true. But anyway, moving on.
They take on Braun Strowman and a partner to be determined. This is a two-parter, lady and gentlemen, using those phrases loosely in this instance. Who is the partner? Who wins? Liz?
I don't really see them putting. I kind of find this. At first, I was like totally against this. I thought it was stupid, but I admit I was wrong. It grew on me. I was kind of hoping they'd let him, like so like a reverse Freebird, just do it himself. But that is kind of ridiculous, even for them. So, I really don't see them putting the tag titles on him, or if he does, he abandons them or he loses them right away. So I'm gonna go with. Um, I'll say he wins because he probably will. It's so stupid. But as for who his partner is going to be, a lot of people think it's going to be Joe. I think that's the big rumor right now. But who said it? I know you said Big Show in the thing, but I'm going to go with Big Show.
Who wins the match?
Braun, I said that.
She said Braun and the partner.
Okay. Brandon?
In terms of who his partner's gonna be, this is a tough one because I feel like Big Show is too obvious, and Joe would probably make the most sense because it would get the biggest pop if he's healthy, because there really isn't anyone special that's a really big surprise that they can bring in for this, and if it turns out just to be, Elias, it would be a huge letdown. So I am gonna go with Joe as his partner, and especially if it is Joe, I think they do win it, and they go on a bit of a tear in the tag team division.
Before Harry answers, you know who they probably, would be hysterical? It would be horrible. It would also be
James
hysterical
Ellsworth.
if it was like Hornswoggle.
Oh, God.
Oh, God. Why did you put that out there?
No, isn't he still in TNA? Or Impact? Whatever it's called now?
Who cares? Who cares? I'm just laughing. Probably.
Why would you put that out there?
Because Braun's so tall and he's so tiny.
See, it would have worked with the original rumor if he were healthy, but,
No, just no. Right person, wrong result, Brandon.
So you think Joe, but they're going to lose?
I think Joe, but they're going to lose because Braun and Joe can't get along, and they end up fighting, and Joe ends up eating a pin.
I could see. I could see that.
It sets up Strowman's next feud against Joe.
I could see that.
I could live with it.
Moving on here to the SmackDown side of the tag team titles, as the Usos down since okay, I'm done. I'm far too Caucasian to pull that off. Brandon, you're not much darker than I am. Moving on.
I'm probably lighter than you are, so.
You are in South Carolina, so you might have more of a tan.
That's true. Not right now.
But no, it's like 40 freaking degrees in Ohio today. Anyway, SmackDown tag team titles are on the line as the Usos defend against the New Day and the Bludgeon Brothers. Brandon?
Well, let me first say it's the beginning of Liz's favorite part of the show. All the multi-man matches. And, come on, really? Is this really even a question? This is a lot like the Ronda Rousey match. Yeah. Bludgeon Brothers are going over here. And not sure exactly how they'll get to it. I'm hoping that the rumor is true that it's going to be a TLC match. But, either way, I think the Bludgeon Brothers are certainly going over on this, in this match.
Liz?
Yeah, if it's if it's not the Bludgeon Brothers, then it's because one of them is about to be suspended or something. It wouldn't make any sense for them not to get the titles at Mania the way they've been booking them. So, yeah, Bludgeon Brothers.
I'm going to intentionally eat a loss here, and I'm going to explain why. I'm going to pick the New Day to win this match. And the reason I'm going to pick the New Day to win this match is because I want the Bludgeon Brothers to win the match in the titles, but every single freaking time I picked them to win the tag team titles in their original feud with the Usos, they didn't. Therefore, I'm hoping that me not picking them here will erase the curse and we'll finally see Luke Harper with a tag title. Or any title, really.
Didn't he technically have the Intercontinental title for a while?
He did, for like a month. He deserves more, damn it.
Oh, I agree.
When asked for comment, Luke had this to say. Yeah. Moving on. Back to Raw for the Intercontinental title as The Miz defends against Seth Rollins and Finn Balor. Liz?
Seth lost this week. If we go by that formula, which maybe one day they'll break. Finn, which I actually thought it was going to be Finn for a while because I think he needs it more than anybody else. The Miz has had it forever. I actually am. I know a lot of people aren't. I'm actually a fan of The Miz. I think he's very entertaining. I don't think he's any worse in the ring. I actually think he's pretty good in the ring than anybody else that people love. But I think it's time for a new one, and I think Finn definitely needs the win and the title more than the other two.
Brandon?
Both Seth and Finn should be destined for bigger and better this upcoming year, now with the hope, more than likely, the Intercontinental title being broken out of captivity. But, Finn Balor is going to win this match, and he'll finally get a title back, and I'm hoping that we see a few demon entrances with him putting the title on the ramp and crawling towards it like we did in NXT.
I have a bit of a bold prediction here. I do think Miz loses the title before the weekend's out. Just not at WrestleMania. I think Miz will drop the IC title on the Monday Night Raw after WrestleMania, and they buck the trend and actually have Miz retain on Sunday, pinning Seth Rollins.
But who faces him at the Raw after Mania?
That is a damn good question and one I don't have an answer to, but that is just a kind of a thrown out there prediction as far as what I think is going to happen. I think that we're going to see Miz taking some time off in the very near future.
Mm-hmm.
He's a new father. Obviously, he's going to want to spend time with his little girl. So I think that it happens, but everybody's thinking that it's going to happen at WrestleMania. I don't see it. I think they pull a swerve and have Miz retain at Mania only to have him drop it on the Raw after WrestleMania.
So this is basically going to be Jericho 2.0.
To an extent, yes. I know what you're referring to when Jericho retained against Edge at WrestleMania.
No, not that. Last year.
Was that the night after WrestleMania?
It wasn't the night after WrestleMania. It was like a couple of weeks later, like after the shakeup. But like everyone was expecting him to drop the title at Mania against KO because of
he did drop the title to KO at Mania.
Oh, right, you're right. Never mind. That was later on.
The Edge situation there would be him retaining against Edge only to lose the title to Swagger in a Money in the Bank cash-in.
That's true.
So that's where I thought you were going with that. I'm like, as soon as you said KO, I'm like, no, Kevin won the title last year. And I was sad because the Festival of Friendship ruined everything I knew about pro wrestling. Anywho. We move on to the SmackDown side of things as the U.S. title match is now a fatal four-way. So that's a triple threat tag match, a triple threat four-way.
I told you this is Liz's favorite part of the show.
Liz, I have good news.
This is the last one.
Everything from here on out is a singles match.
Hallelujah.
The four-way for the SmackDown U.S. title sees Randy Orton defending against Robert Roode, Bobby, to the WWE fans, Jinder Mahal, Jobber, to the WWE fans, and the most over man in professional wrestling at this particular moment. What day is it, Liz?
Rusev Day.
I like that she sung it. That warmed my heart a little bit.
Well
Brandon, you go first on SmackDown, so who do you got here?
I'm going with Bobby getting his title back.
Liz?
And what's probably going to be, in some ways, the most bland match we have, because there's only one. Bobby's great. I've been a fan of his for a long time, but the only man in this match currently showing any charisma is our dearly beloved leader, Rusev. But I'm going to go with Orton to retain, similar to Harry and The Miz, but not necessarily the SmackDown. He losing it pretty soon.
I think this match opens the show.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Oh, yeah.
I think Rusev wins the match and the title in order to quell the Rusev Day chance from taking over the show.
In spite of what happened tonight?
And Rusev pulls a Miz and drops the belt back a la Zack Ryder the night afterwards. Well, 2 nights after.
Oh, excuse me, bite your horrible tongue.
I could honestly see that.
Yeah, me too.
Especially if it's opening the show.
Let me state for the record that I don't want that to happen, but that's what I'm officially predicting to happen.
Where is the Roar after Mania? The same place?
Yes.
Nolans.
They're
Raw
all,
and SmackDown.
yeah.
No, I mean
Well,
literally like the same arena.
No.
Yes. Well,
No, they're in the home
Smoothie
of
King Center.
the what now?
The Smoothie King Center.
The home of the New Orleans Hornets.
Pelicans
Or
now.
The Pelicans, yeah. Sorry.
Interesting.
Get your teams right.
You know, when I was younger, I used to be able to do every single home stadium in all 4 major sports. It's been a long time since I could pull that off.
I can do most of them.
We now move to the big 4 matches. As first is the Raw Women's title. Alexa Bliss defends against Nia Jax. Liz?
The popular opinion is that Nia wins, thereby, the bigger girl gets over on the bully and blah blah blah. It's not, I don't see it, not yet. Because then I just don't see it happening yet. I think I don't know. I think Mickey's going to interfere, and Alexa's going to retain by DQ.
Brandon?
Honestly, I'm shocked that this isn't going to be on the kickoff show, but especially considering it's not. Especially considering how they've been pushing this feud and what they've been doing in this feud, and the fact that it is Mania, which means the most casual eyes and everything. Yeah, Nia wins in less than 5 minutes.
Which I personally would love.
I would even go further than that and say it's probably going to be closer to 3.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't think Alexa has the snowball's chance in hell here.
This is basically going to be the reverse of Bayley Bliss at Payback.
This is their opportunity to tell everybody, be a star!
Don't get me started. That's a whole other podcast.
SMD. I will leave it at that. Moving on, the SmackDown Women's title match is by far the much more anticipated of the two, as the Queen, Charlotte Flair, defends against Nobody's Ready for Asuka. Brandon?
It's going to be a great technical match. Hopefully they give it plenty of time. But the streak continues. Asuka gets her first main roster title, and we get more Nobody's Ready for Asuka.
Liz?
Yeah, agreed. I don't think that they would end the streak, at Mania. I mean, eventually it's going to come to an end.
I think they will end it at Mania, just not this Mania.
Not this one. Yeah, no, I know. That's what I meant. I meant like our first Mania.
Yes.
I'm sorry, I was not clear. Thank you. Yeah, Asuka. I would probably drop dead of shock if Charlotte retained.
But at the same time, if there's somebody on the main roster right now outside of that other girl who's in the mixed tag match, would it really surprise you to see them sacrifice Asuka's undefeated streak to Charlotte?
Yes.
Not entirely, but I think they'd want her to have a title reign first before they did that. I think they want to make the win as, the win to break the streak as important as it can possibly be.
I'm just saying I wouldn't be surprised if they have her first loss hung on her by Charlotte. I don't think that it's going to be at this particular WrestleMania. Asuka's going to win the SmackDown title.
Yes.
But it would not surprise me down the road to see the first loss in the WWE in any capacity put on Asuka by Charlotte. Mm-hmm. If it's not Charlotte, then we know the other person it's probably going to be. And much though I don't necessarily care for Charlotte, I'd much rather it be an actual wrestler than an MMA fighter trying to play wrestling.
Well, that has yet to be seen. We'll see about that.
Back to Raw and the Universal title match as Brock Lesnar defends against Roman Reigns. Liz?
I am not a Roman hater. Let me go on record for saying it's not because it's handsome. It's not because he has dreamy eyes. It's not any of that crap.
It's because he
No, and I've said it before. When the Shield first debuted, but we've long established that I don't watch NXT. I have rarely watched NXT. Whatever, when they first appeared, I was like, oh, great, another faction that comes in and destroys everybody inside. They grew on me. A lot of his hate, some of it's justified, some of it's just, fans are really, sheep and follow along with, oh, I'm not supposed to like him because, my favorite internet darling didn't get a push and he's being shoved down our throats. And yes, there's a lot of mixed, truth to that. But as much as I can see that, I can't stand Brock. I can't. So I'm really over the whole, we have a champion, that shows up every once in a while and crap. I'm a little bit old school in that. So I'm going to say Roman, just because I would like Brock not to be champion any longer.
Brandon?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty self-explanatory. This is another one where, we pretty much know this has been set up for over a year now. Ever since last WrestleMania, everything has been saying, Lesnar is going to hold the title for a whole year and then Reigns is going to beat him at Mania. And now we're at that climax finally. Like I mentioned before, ever since July and Great Balls of Fire, I've grown into more of a Roman fan. I'm not ashamed to admit it anymore. And like Liz said, I'd much rather have a fighting champion, and like I mentioned before, now this will allow other guys who haven't had the chance to go after the Universal title the two I mentioned before did technically start off the Universal title, but ever since then they have been completely separated from it. But the fact that we will finally have the Universal title as a prominent fixture on Raw will allow a lot more guys towards the top of the card to get more of a push and potentially get a title shot or a title reign over the next year, year and a half, 2 years, what have you. So, yeah, Roman's definitely going to win, and in spite of what, I know he's going to get booed like crazy. I know he's going to get booed like crazy at the Fallout show for Mania. But it's better for the overall roster that he has it and we actually have a fighting champion.
Paul Heyman has come out and said on Twitter that Sunday is Brock Lesnar's last match with the WWE.
Did he really?
I'm not falling for it. I don't buy it. I think it's a troll. I think it's a troll job. Brock Lesnar retains.
Wow.
I don't buy that Lesnar's leaving like that. Do I think Lesnar's going to leave sooner rather than later? Yes. Do I want Lesnar off of my television screen? Yes. But Paul coming out and saying that Sunday was it for Brock in the WWE, I don't buy it.
I'll agree with that just for the reason, and I was talking with Gary about this last night on the Raw review, and I'll say it again. And apparently I thought it was going to be a whole year, but I guess he added himself back into the testing pool, like right after the suspension or something. But apparently he still has to sit out for half a year before he can step into the octagon again. So, as a result, I think he will make some sort of deal with WWE, sign like half a year contract or, some sort of quick little extension to allow him to continue to stay on WWE until he can jump ship to the UFC. But do I think he's gonna have the title? No. I think Reigns still wins.
Forgive my language in advance here. I just want him fucking gone. I'm over it.
Oh, I agree.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm just saying, especially if he has to sit out for an extended period of time, I think that he's still gonna want to do something.
Brock has been back for
6 years.
6 years. He has 3 losses in that time.
And 2 of the 3 happened right when he first got back.
Triple H, John Cena, and The Undertaker. Way to put over that young talent, Brock. Go away. I'm over it.
Yep.
Our main event, as a wrestling fan and as a sports entertainment fan, our main event is the Smackdown heavyweight title match as AJ Styles defends against Shinsuke Nakamura. Brandon?
Let me first say this. I know it's not going to happen, but it should. I really hope that this is the longest match on the card. I know it probably won't be, although, the bigger matches, at least in the WWE's eyes, they probably won't want to give too much time to for various reasons. So I could honestly see this being the longest match on the card. Is it going to be that technical masterpiece and the technical match that we saw at Wrestle Kingdom? No. Not as much as it was, for obvious reasons. But is it still going to be a good, solid match? Yes. In terms of who wins, I think Shinsuke gets the win here to get the title. And hopefully this feud continues for a little bit. Maybe they have another couple of matches, especially with the whole rematch clause. You'll definitely see another match between these two. And yeah, I definitely, like you said, this is definitely, at least on a wrestling this is definitely the match that you're most looking forward to going into Mania.
Liz?
Yeah, definitely Nakamura. I think he's at that. A lot of people have said that they haven't done much with him, and he's not been as good as he was in Next and all that. So I think it's definitely at that point where they will put the title on him, and I hope they give him a really decent run. I'd like to see the feud continue, but I also wonder who else they're going to throw into the middle of it to shake things up.
4 simple words here. AJ Styles retains.
Are you just being argumentative?
No, I don't think they feel like Shinsuke can carry the SmackDown brand, whereas I feel like they know Styles can. And if what we've seen in terms of in-ring content from AJ the last 2 weeks on SmackDown is an actual resemblance of how his knee is feeling, then he's still good to go. And they want even a 80% AJ Styles is the best thing SmackDown has going for it in terms of in-ring content.
Unless the big question with this, and especially considering he stayed the last time, are they gonna move him?
Not a chance.
You don't think
None.
You don't think so?
Nah, SmackDown's the house that AJ built. I think he's so used to working that Saturday to Tuesday loop too for the house shows as well that doing anything to get him out of that kind of exchange would do nothing but a disservice to AJ, his family, and his kids.
I mean, if there is going to be a shakeup, and a lot of people suspect that Seth is going to move over there, I can definitely see him getting involved with the two of them, and that could be some fairly awesome stuff.
Or better yet, we saw it earlier on in the year because, just kind of on a fluke. But, they did it once, why not do it again, reverse it again, have Balor as the Intercontinental Champion go over to SmackDown, and, maybe lose it to someone, give someone a push over on SmackDown, but then have Balor go after the, if AJ is indeed still the WWE Champion, have him go after the title, and maybe even throw in Shinsuke in there. Have the ultimate, New Japan, throwback triple threat match between AJ, Shinsuke, and Finn Balor.
Liz, just what you were hoping for, another multi-man.
Yeah, exciting. No,
You see why he's the villain at the start of these broadcasts?
I've watched very, very little New Japan. A lot of fans who just watch WWE aren't getting no jack about that. I mean, they know that they'll be winning just by seeing that match. That's obvious. I mean, if they don't feel comfortable putting it on Nakamura, it'd have to be because of his promo skills, because of the language barrier. Which again, I would give him, and I mean, okay, so is Asuka going to stay on SmackDown? They're going to, right, if she wins the title, I suppose?
She would have to, you would think.
She'd have to, right? So then give him and her and Nakamura the same manager, the same talking head. It's, oh, look, we had two of the biggest Japanese stars that came here. They're ruling the show now, blah, 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 blah. It doesn't have to be a Japanese person. It could be a short, chubby Jewish man that might not have anything, to do lately.
Unfortunately, it sounds like he may be gone.
Oh, God, no, I love him. Who the hell knows? It could be, it could be a lot of people. I'm sure there's even somebody in the back that, is an agent that was now, whatever.
I know this is going to be very stereotypical, and you guys can call me out for being racist all you want. But I don't know how good... I think his English is pretty good. But pull Funaki off of the commentary table.
That is racist.
It would be great, though. He's hilarious on commentary.
I don't think it's racist at all. Here you have this well-known to WWE Japanese Asian, former superstar. He's on, he's known to the Japanese fans as the announcer, for the the Japanese show, version airing, whatever. I think it would work, but I also think that they need somebody who's. I don't think it would work if he was like so comedic. I think they need somebody that's known as a, somebody who's built, stars, or something like that. I can't think of anybody offhand other than, Paul, who, even if he's gone, I'm sure he'll be back, eventually.
Yeah, we were talking about it before. That's the big issue with that. If you are going to try to give them a manager, is there really aren't any managers around anymore.
I know. I'm trying to think of who as an agent could even, be pushed into it. Not pushed into it, but that would do a good job of it.
I wouldn't be surprised if Heyman sticks around to become somebody else's manager. The other big rumor making the rounds as far as Paul goes is that he turns on Brock at WrestleMania and aligns himself with Roman, much the same way he did with Brock and Big Show back in 2002.
Yeah, that's what I was that was actually what I was just about to say. If he does stick around, I think if he goes on to manage anyone else, if Brock does indeed leave, that he's more than likely going to go with Roman more than anyone else.
I mean, you could even tie that, if you're going to think like that, you can even tie that back to the tweet that he sent, that he sent, it's a little, cryptic, it's his last match. Is he going to make sure it's his last match? Does he have something up his sleeve? Is he in cahoots with Roman? Who knows? Mm-hmm. But the other two definitely need a manager.
So basically what I'm saying at this point is dun, dun, dun. Okay, and now that super old reference is out of the way, do we have anything else to touch on for tonight's episode of the Smackdown Live Review?
Should we talk about the elephant in the room from last night?
I mean, how bad are we on time?
A little over an hour.
I guess if we can keep this relatively concise, we can touch on it. Sean really doesn't like these going much more than an hour if possible, so.
Blah, blah, blah.
It'll be fast.
Stuff happens. Comes Sunday at WrestleMania, Cena's at ringside. Kid Rock comes out to perform his concert. Taker rides out after he ends with American Badass. Cena gets into the ring. They have a match. Taker wins. Brandon?
Yeah, pretty much. That's what I was thinking, too.
I don't think it's going to be an actual match. I think it's just going to be some type of brawl that, will hopefully never happen again and lead to nothing.
But if they're going to have a brawl, that it's going to lead to something. Come on.
A girl can dream, Brandon. A girl can dream.
You know what the worst part of this match is going to be? That
what?
We can't see one of the participants.
You're an idiot.
And the other one's a Walking Dead man?
Or he might be an American Badass.
That too.
After all, he is American Badass. Watch him kick. You can roll with Rock, or you can... Never mind.
I'm hoping to see...
Don't get me started on another American theme, because that just made me think of another one.
Bow, 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 now, now, now.
No, not that one.
Oh,
American Math.
Oh, God damn it, Brandon. That's going to be stuck in my head now. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
For the co-hostess with the mostest, Miss Liz Pugliese, and Luther to my super, Brandon Biskobing, I'm Harry Broadhurst, thanking you for listening to the Wrestling to the Max Smackdown Live Review for April 3rd, 2018. Make sure you check out W2Mnet.com for everything you need to know about the worlds of soccer, video games, entertainment, wrestling, football, and so much more. Once again, online at W2Mnet.com. In addition, you can find the Wrestling to the Max and W2M Network podcasts in Stitcher, iTunes, iHeartRadio. I hear we're coming to Spotify. It's a work in progress. We'll let you know if that actually happens. I know I like to listen on Spotify. That's my personal podcast choice. So, yeah, for Brandon and Liz, I'm Harry. Thanks for listening to the SmackDown Live Review for April 3rd and our WrestleMania predictions. We will see you for the Smackdown after WrestleMania, the Mania after Mania, as we like to call it, next Tuesday night, Wednesday morning, whenever you listen, here on the W2M Network. Thanks for listening, everybody. We'll catch you next time.